जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna and welcome back. Today we are discussing verse number 36 of chapter number 1 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. But before starting our discussion, I would just like to let you all know that today is a very auspicious day of Sri Balaram Jayanti. So Balaram Jayanti over here on the uh, right side of Krishna is Lord Balaram. So this is Lord Krishna and this is Lord Balaram, Lord Krishna's elder brother. In the past times on earth, when Lord Krishna comes to this material world, Lord Balram plays the role of his elder brother. So the Lord Balram is actually our Adi Guru, or the original spiritual master. And I pray to Lord Balram to help us all and guide us all to make progress in our spiritual journey to attain the services of the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. So these are the pictures of Krishna Balram from the Krishna Balram Mandir in Shri Vrindavan Dham. So let's begin our discussion of chapter number 1, verse number 36. So in last few verses we have seen that Arjuna is giving different reasons. In specifically, he has given two different reasons for why he doesn't want to fight in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So the first reason he gives was his overwhelming compassion for the opposing army. And why that compassion was there? So he gives the reason, because they are my swajana. Swajana means my own people. So how can I kill my own people? So that was his overwhelming compassion for his relatives who were fighting from the opposite side. And then he gives the second reason. Second reason was the reason for enjoyment. And it was a very valid reason that, Arjuna will not be able to enjoy after he wins the war and his own people are dead. So what kind of enjoyment he will have? Because the very person with whom he want to enjoy, they will be all dead. So these were the two reasons which were given in the previous verses. And now Arjuna will give another very compelling reason why he doesn't want to fight. And that reason is the fear of sinful reaction. So let's read the verse. So verse number 36 of chapter number 1 goes as this. Papam eva sharayed asman hatvaitan atataina tasman narha vayam hantum dhratrarashtran sabandhuvan swajanam hi katham hatva sukhina syam madhava. So here there are couple of important words. So he is using the word atatainaha, and then he is also using the word swajanaha or swajanam, which he has used in the past. In many verses he has used the word swajanam, means my people. And then here Arjuna is calling Krishna by the name Madhava. In the previous verse, Arjuna calls Lord Krishna as Govinda, and then Madhusudana and Janardana. And I forgot to, I missed explaining the word Janardana. So Govinda is one who gives pleasure to the senses, and Madhusudana he is a killer of demon Madhu. Right? And these were the two things we explained. But the third one, the name Janardana, I forgot to explain. So Janardana means protector of Jana. Jana means people. And so Arjuna was trying to say in the previous word that you are protector of people. So why are you engaging me in doing something that will cause destruction to people? So that's why he called Krishna as Janardana. So this is the meaning. And another way we can understand that is Janardana means he is a destructor of, or he brings destruction to people. One is Ardhana, the meaning of Ardhana is destruction, or Jana is people, and Ardhana means destruction. So another meaning can be that Krishna is going to bring destruction to people. He is going to get rid of the burden of the earth. So that is one of the reasons why Krishna comes to this material world. So that is a description which I forgot about Janardana. So now we continue in this verse. And in this verse, the first two lines, Arjuna is saying, Papam eva ashraya. So ashraya means taking shelter. Right? And again, in this particular verse, normally there are 4 lines. So here we see 6 lines. So that is based on the continuity of the thought. Okay. So ashraya, so eva ashraya, these are 2 words together. So eva ashrayed. But if you separate it, it is eva and ashrayat. So taking ashraya means taking shelter. So in a way, Arjuna is saying that papam means sin. So we are going to take shelter of sin. Shelter of sin. How are we going to take shelter of sin? Hatvaitana atataina. So by killing our atatais. So a new term has been introduced over here. Atatai means atatai is somebody who is aggressor. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada describes that there are 6 kinds of aggressors. First kind of aggressor is a poison giver. Second is one who sets fire to the house. Third is one who attacks with deadly weapons. And the fourth one is one who plunder riches. And the fifth one is one who occupies another's land, and one who kidnaps another's wife. So in case of the Kauravas, they have done all this 6 kind of aggression on the Pandavas. So when we read Mahabharata, we'll come across that Bhima was given poison, then they were put into one house which was set on fire, and then they were multiple times attacked with deadly weapons, and they plundered the riches of the Pandavas, and they took their land, and then they disrobed Draupadi actually in the Asat Sabha. So all this kind of aggression were done by the Kauravas on the Pandavas. So here Arjuna is saying that the sin is, we will be overcome by sins, or if we take shelter of, we will have to go through the reactions of these sinful actions, even if we kill the atatai. So this is what the point Arjuna is trying to tell here. And to whom is he saying this? So he is saying this to Madhava. So Madhava is Krishna, and Arjuna is saying, "O Madhava, O Krishna." So meaning of Madhava is husband of the goddess of fortune. So goddess of fortune is Lakshmi Devi, and Lord Krishna is the husband of the goddess of fortune as Lord Narayan. So Arjuna is saying that you are the husband of the goddess of fortune, and then why are you compelling me to fight a war which will be the cause of my misfortune? Why it will be misfortune? Because all his relatives will be dead. So he is saying that, oh Madhava, we will be overcome by sin, or we will have to go through the sinful reactions. Why? Because we will be killing the atatai. This is a papam eva shrayad asman hatvaitan atataina. And then actually there are 6 kind of atatais which we discussed here in this 6 kind of aggressor Prabhupada gives in the purport. This is coming from the scriptures actually, that there are 6 kind of aggressors, and there are actually different grades of scriptures. So there are lower grades of scriptures, then there are higher grades of scriptures. So how these grades are done, or levels of scriptures are there, so that is based on the mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. So these modes will be discussed later in details actually in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And according to the lower levels of scriptures like Artha Shastra, it says that if we happen to kill an aggressor, so this aggressor, anybody who has done any of this aggression, and if we kill them, then what happens? Then we will not incur any sinful reactions. So there is no sinful reactions. So this is according to the Artha Shastra. But then there are higher grades of scriptures. So there are higher grade scriptures like Dharma Shastra. So those scriptures says that even if you kill an aggressor, even if you kill an aggressor who has done this kind of aggression on you, but because you are taking part in sinful activities, now if you even kill them, then you will get sinful reactions. So Arjuna, as we know, that he was very well learned in scriptures, and even so he is thinking in terms of scripture that even if they have done some kind of aggression to the Pandavas, so Arjuna thought that it would not be a good idea to retaliate and incur more sinful reactions. So this is what is currently the thought process of Arjuna, and therefore he is saying that Tasman narha vyayam hantum dhratarashtran sabandhavan. Therefore Arjuna is saying that we should not be killing our relatives and friends. Dhratarashtra is the relatives and sabandhavan. We should not be killing. And on top of it, they are swajana. They are my people, right? So if they are my people, how can somebody be happy by killing his own relatives? So this is, he's saying swajanam hi katham hatva sukhina syama madhava. How can somebody kill his own relative and be happy? Oh Madhava, how can somebody be happy like that? So Arjuna is in a very in a situation where it is very difficult for him to decide. That in one level the Atyatai have already done so many bad karma and they are deserved to be punished. But on the other side, here their aggressors are not only aggressors, but they are also his relatives. So according to Vedic Dharma, it is also Arjuna's dharma to protect his relatives. So Arjuna is he has a conflict between his duty and his relatives. So since Arjuna is saintly, he is thinking that, why should I even get into all this problems? Why should I create karma that will give me more sinful reactions? So these are the kind of arguments which Arjuna is placing before Krishna. So let's read the translation and then the purport. So Arjuna is saying, sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Right? Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friend. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of goddess of fortune, and how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? So it looks like it's a very valid argument which Arjuna is placing before Krishna. So let's see what Srila Prabhupada is giving in the purport. So the first point Srila Prabhupada talks about is 6 kind of aggressors. So according to Vedic injunctions, there are 6 kind of aggressors, and we saw that earlier. A poison giver, the second one is one who sets fire to the home, third is one who attacks with deadly weapons, fourth is one who plunders riches, and fifth one who occupies another's land, and sixth is one who kidnaps a wife. And then next point Prabhupada is explaining us that what needs to be done to such an aggressor. Such an aggressor are at once to be killed, and that's the point we discussed. That according to Arthashastra, these aggressors can be killed, and no sin is incurred by killing such aggressors. Such killing of aggressors is quite befitting to an ordinary man. So this instruction of the Arthashastra is for an ordinary man. But we know that Arjuna is not an ordinary man. So what is Arjuna's dharma? So here Prabhupada continues, but Arjuna was not an ordinary man. He was a saintly by character, and therefore he wanted to deal with them in saintliness. So being a devotee, he had all the good qualities, as we saw in the previous sessions, that devotees have qualities like the qualities of demigods, So saintliness is one of the quality. This kind of saintliness, however, is not for Kshatriya. So Arjuna was a devotee, at the same time he was a Kshatriya too. By birth he was Kshatriya and he was trained as a Kshatriya. So the duty of the Kshatriya is to give protection to its citizen. So here, because Arjuna was a Kshatriya, then he has Kshatriya duties according to the ashrama in which Arjuna is. So although a responsible man in the administration of the state is required to be saintly, he should not be cowardly. Now certainly we know that Arjuna is not cowardly, because he has won so many wars, he single-handedly actually has won wars. So he was not cowardly, but he was acting here in a cowardly way. Right? And then Prabhupada says that there are examples from history we can see where the Atatais were punished. Right? So for example, Lord Rama, who was so saintly that people even now are anxious to live in the kingdom of Lord Ram, and that is called as Ramarajya. But Lord Ram never showed any cowardice. Ravana was an aggressor against Rama because Ravana kidnapped Rama's wife, Mother Sita. But Lord Rama gave him sufficient lessons unparalleled in the history of the world. So finally, actually, Lord Rama actually killed him. He gave actually many opportunities to surrender. But since Ravana didn't surrender, then Lord Ram had to kill him. Now, why is Arjuna hesitating to take actions? Because in case of Ravana, Ravana was a demon. He was an aggressor as well as he was a demon. But that is not the case of Arjuna. And that's what Prabhupada explains in the next paragraph. Why Arjuna is hesitating to take action. In Arjuna's case, however, one should consider a special type of aggressors, because these aggressors were his relatives, namely his own grandfathers, own teachers, friends, sons, grandsons, etc. His family members, Swajana, that's what he's saying. Because of them, Arjuna thought that he should not take the severe steps necessary against ordinary aggressor. So Ravana, in that case, Lord Ram took action and it killed him. But these are his relatives. So that's the reason he's saying that he's thinking in his mind that I should not take such aggressive steps. Besides that, saintly person are advised to forgive. So this is a conflict which is going on in his mind, whether to fight, not to fight. So conflict between his duties and between his relatives and his nature also, right? Because his nature is saintly. He was a saintly king. He was a Rajarshi. Rajarshi means Raja plus Rishi. So king having saintly quality. So that's the reason. Besides that, simply a person are advised to forgive. So injunctions for saintly persons are more important than political emergency. This is what is Arjuna thinking, that saintly qualities are better than this kind of political emergency. So Arjuna considered that rather than kill his own kinsmen for political reason, it would be better to forgive them on the grounds of religion and saintly behavior. Right? So saints are expected to behave like this. But here, Lord Krishna doesn't want Arjuna to behave like a saint, because this is one point Krishna is bringing up in Bhagavad Gita in the later chapters, that one should not act according to one's own adhikar. So here Arjuna is born as Kshatriya and trained as Kshatriya. So he should behave as Kshatriya, not as a saint. And then he said he did not therefore consider such killing profitable simply for the matter of temporary bodily happiness. What was a temporary happiness? That after the war, he is going to rule for a certain number of years. So he was thinking that maybe I'll rule for maybe 100 more years. So, what is the gain actually? Ultimately, I have to give it up, So after all, kingdoms and pleasure derived therefrom are not permanent. That's the point I was saying, that maybe for a certain number of years. So why should he take risk of his life and eternal salvation by killing his own kinsmen? Because if he is killing, Arjuna is thinking that if he kills his relatives, then he will incur sin and he will not be able to enjoy. And he already had the compassion for his relatives. So these are the points which Arjuna thinking, and he is presenting to these arguments to Lord Krishna. And one level, these arguments looks very valid, but Krishna is going to refute this whatever arguments Arjuna is presenting here, and whatever he has presented earlier, he is going to refute one by one each of these arguments. So the final point which Prabhupada brings is Lord Krishna as Madhava. So Madhava means husband of the goddess of fortune. So Krishna has been addressed by Arjuna as Madhava. So Arjuna's addressing of Krishna as Madhava, or the husband of the goddess of fortune, is also significant in this connection. He wanted to point out to Krishna that as husband of goddess of fortune, he should not induce Arjuna to take up the matter which would ultimately bring about misfortune. So this is what Arjuna is thinking, that this war is, I don't see any good fortune this war is going to bring me. This is actually a point where Arjuna is trying to tell to Lord Krishna. And in the last line, Srila Prabhupada says that Krishna, however, never brings misfortune to anyone, to say nothing of his devotees. So Krishna will not act in such a way that will bring misfortune for anyone. And this is a very true statement actually, because sometimes we feel that God is bringing misfortune in our life. But we should know that Lord's action may not always be very pleasant, right? But his actions are benevolent. What is the meaning of this? Pleasant means that which feels good. It gives us immediate satisfaction, and it looks favorable to us. So that is pleasant to us. But benevolent means that which actually does good to us. So for example, a surgeon has to remove some growth from a body. So what the surgeon will do? Surgeon wants to remove that dangerous growth, so he has to use a knife and cut. So this cutting of that or removal of that growth is painful. Right? It's not pleasant, but it is benevolent. So similarly, Krishna's actions are like this surgical knife. It cuts and it causes pain. But this Krishna's knife, which will be cutting the bodily attachment or misconception for Arjuna. So this is feeling like misfortune at this point of time. But it is going to bring supreme fortune to Arjuna. So this is what we are going to understand by reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Alright, so we'll stop here. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Bol.